Okay, Revelation 14. If Revelation 12 popped up and that it was public and you guys are able to see it, I apologize because I meant to make it private. I'm just putting that out there. I'll get this stuff squared away because I want to start from beginning to end. So Revelation 14. So here again, we're going to see another instance where you're going to be reading something that actually started a couple chapters back. So here again, the Revelation isn't going in a straight line. Now it's jumping back and describing different details about the same subject. This one is titled "The Lamb and the 144,000." So we know the 144,000 were being sealed. What 5 chapters ago? 4 chapters? Yeah, I think 5. So maybe even more than that. So the 144,000 were being sealed, and they were doing things on the earth back then. So now we're seeing about the 144,000. So now we're jumping backwards again. We're going back to talk about another subject. This is how the book of Revelations works. It's not a straight line read. As you read it, at some point you have to go back because you're reading different details and different events happening at the same time other stuff is happening. Then I looked, and behold, a lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of loud thunder. Here's the thunder thing again. And I heard a sound of harpists playing their harps. Who had the harps? The 24 elders. They were the ones holding harps. They sang, as it were, a new song. So here we go. Remember when we read that a few chapters ago? They were singing a new song. They sang, as it were, a new song before the throne, before the 4 living creatures and the elders, and no one could learn that song except the 144,000 who were redeemed from the earth. So here we've got details that take us back to the beginning of the book of Revelations. Chapters 5, 4, 5, and 6, 7 maybe. So that's the point I'm trying to get across is you can't read Revelations in a straight line. It is not laid out that way. They couldn't give him all the details at one shot. They had to do it a couple different times so he'd focus on it. These are the ones who are not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These were redeemed from among men, being firstfruits to God and to the Lamb. Now, there's a lot of people that are saying they are the 144,000. Yep, I'm chosen. I'm from the tribe of whoever. Well, and they're all getting it from a website. They're all getting it from a website that is giving them information from the Emerald Tablets, which the Emerald Tablets, not a single person living or dead has ever seen them. The booklet that they get the information from is a Muslim book. It's Islam in origin. What does that tell you? But people are convinced that they're emailing somebody and they're telling them, oh yeah, you felt like a superhero in your life, you this, you that, you're light workers. You ever see that term used by somebody called of light workers? Watch that person. Be careful of what they're saying, because they're going to give you doctrine to make you think something different from what the truth is. And these people are going to have funky names like Atreyu and something like that comes from the never-ending story. You are not one of the 144,000. Jesus will not give you that name. Trust me. This is not how this is going to unfold. The 144,000 aren't sealed until the tribulation kicks off. I just read it in these videos, in the chapters. So, doesn't make sense. None of that stuff makes sense. But they sure talk a big game and play it up. Anyway, a lot of them hold themselves in very high regard. So you have to be careful what people are telling you. Now listen to what these guys are. First of all, they're virgins, physical virgins. And in their mouth was found no deceit, for they are without fault before the throne of God. There is only one entity, one person, one creature, one type that could be a virgin, never defiled of woman, and have no deceit in their mouth. And think about who that is. Think about an individual person. At what point in their life would they be this? Be a virgin and no deceit. Figure it out? A baby. A baby about 2 years old. Just learning how to talk. Not defiled by women at all, because he's a baby. When were 144,000 babies killed and set aside? Got to go back in the Old Testament. when Jesus was 2 years old. Because Herod, at that time, was it Herod? I think it was Herod, was trying to kill Jesus, so he had ordered that all the tribes, which all 12 tribes were in one region by the ocean, because the description that they give turns out all 12 tribes were there. If 12,000 babies were killed out of all 12 tribes, that's 144,000. This also relates back to the Valley of Dry Bones. So, anybody living nowadays cannot possibly know or be told that they are one of the 144,000 when these have already been chosen from a long time ago. They're first fruits. So all this stuff links back to that time frame back when Jesus was born. He's about 2 years old. When all those children were killed that were around 2 years old. So, who are the 144,000? Well, it's definitely not anybody living right now. When you do the in-depth, Robert Breaker did a great in-depth study on this. Go check out his channel and look for that video. But when you dig into the details about what it's referring to and go and trace this back, it leads you directly to when Jesus was about 2 years old and Herod was trying to have him killed. And he killed all those babies. Go look in that stuff up and check out Robert's video and do your own study into that, because it's going to open your eyes as to who they are. They're already redeemed. They're already ready. These other people, they're very badly deceived. So, and in their mouth was found no deceit, for they are without fault before the throne of God. How are they without fault? Because it doesn't say anywhere in here they've been redeemed by the Lamb. They were redeemed from among men. Right here it says, these are the ones who were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These were redeemed from among men, being first fruits to God and to the Lamb. Who could this be? It's none of us. It's a whole different group of guys. This is a group of people from, because remember, when Herod was having them killed, he said, I want all the babies right around 2 years old killed, trying to get Jesus. And he said in those scriptures in the Old Testament, or in the New Testament, the male children. Here, these were redeemed from among men. It's right there in the scripture. Little details that jump out at you. So it's no one alive today is one of those people. These guys have already been chosen. Then I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach to those who dwell on the earth, to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. Do you remember what chapter we read that in? Same exact description. It's back near the beginning of the tribulation. So we're seeing events from the beginning of the tribulation again. Weren't we just at the halfway mark? See how the book of Revelations backs up? Saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made heaven and earth, the sea, and the springs of water. Is that not the same message that was shown before? See? Same thing. And another angel followed, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she has made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Who's Babylon? A lot of people are starting to think more and more it's the Vatican. It's Rome, which sure makes sense. Then a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast and his image and receives his mark on his forehead or in his hand, he himself... Okay, I'm going to stop for a second, because you see what's talking about here. This to me sounds like satellites. And somebody has hijacked them and is preaching the gospel around the world in these satellites. Everybody's picking it up. I could be wrong, but that's just what it's saying to me. They're giving these messages out. So then a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, listen closely. A lot of people say, oh, well, I don't think the chip is the mark, but it'll be okay, because we're saved. Then an angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone, saved or unsaved, worships the beast and his image, and receives his mark on his forehead or in his hand. Very clearly, this is delineating that it is any person at all, saved or unsaved, sealed or unsealed, that takes this mark and gets involved in this system. Verse 10, he himself shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out full strength into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Do not take the RFID chip. Do not take the mark. Do not. I don't care if you think you're good to go. Well, I'm saved. I'm one of his chosen. That's okay if I take it. I can just cut my hand off. No, that's not what that's talking about. Don't take the mark. Don't take the chance. It's a whole lot better to be hungry than to be in hell. I'd rather wander the earth hungry than be in hell. Because when they try to do that thing here in Texas with the national ID card, if we're still here, I'm giving up all my licenses. Nope, I'm not having it. I will not take that card. Guess I'll just have to go to jail or go live in the woods. I don't know. I'm not getting involved in this system. This is my personal conviction. Do your studies into this and see what you think, because once you have that, you are now entrenched and locked into that system, that digital system, which is the beast system. Satan is the power of the god of the air. What's in the air? All the digital transfers. Now listen, it's still talking about those people who took the mark, and the smoke of their torment ascends forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast in his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name. Do not take the mark, because this is a condemnation to all who take it. All. Saved, unsaved, sealed, unsealed, don't matter. Do not take this mark. Very clear instructions. Very simple instructions, and an extremely clear warning and the punishment that is associated with doing this. Don't take the mark. You've got to get into prayer about this if you're in confusion, and talk to the Lord. Find out what he wants you to do on this. I did, and I've been convicted to not deal with this system at all. Stay away from it. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Remember when we read this further back? The Bible jumps backwards. The book of Revelation goes backwards and starts again. Then I heard a voice from heaven saying to me, "Write, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works follow them." Who is this? It says, "Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works follow them." This would be everybody who dies during the tribulation, because they go straight up there and stand before the Lord. There's no, you got a white robe waiting for you and everything. Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and on the cloud sat one like the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. There's a harvest coming, but it's not a good harvest. So a lot of people are saying, well, look, see, this is the rapture. No. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, "Thrust in your sickle and reap, for the time has come for you to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe." So he who sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. Then another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, who had power over fire, and he cried with a loud cry to him who had the sharp sickle, saying, "Thrust in your sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe." This is a negative harvest. So the angel thrust his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. This is tribulation. And the winepress was trampled outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress up to the horses' bridles for 1,600 furlongs. This is the valley of Armageddon. Now, a lot of people are like, well, that's impossible for blood to be that high. Listen, they've done studies on this. As big as that valley is, and as big as the armies are that are going to be fighting there, and all the other people that are going to get drawn there, with the displacement of equipment, bodies, they said, theoretically, with all the displacement, it could bring the blood up to here. Because it's going to be mixed with water and junk. All kinds of stuff's going to be in that valley. But it could bring the blood up to the horse's bridle. Just by displacement. So, what the Bible says is true. It will actually be that way. So we've now just gone through Revelation 14. We've gone through 14 chapters. We've seen a lot of revelations and a lot of things jump out at us. A lot of things we see in the world today apply to the stuff we see here. But most importantly, I'm proving a point that I've made several times in other videos. When you read the book of Revelation, you can't read it in a straight line from left to right. You have to read, then the referencing goes back, and then you read, and then it goes back, and then you read, and then it goes back, and then you read. It gives more details of the same things over and over again, making it more in depth. The reason why the book of Revelation did this, why John was being shown this, was to get it home. They gave him a little bit, then they gave him a little more, then they gave him a little more about the same things, was to drive it home so he'd remember all this stuff. So he would put all this detail down, and so we could go study and dig into this. But if you have eyes that are open to see the things that are going on now, when you look at this, just like I've pointed out to you guys, you can see where you see descriptions describing the same exact thing we covered in previous chapters. That's because it jumps back and starts over again. So a good thing to do if you have time is to sit down with a notebook and to start writing down little details about different groups. And then go, when you find more details about the same groups, the same references, write those down. Then keep on going. And you start to see a picture form of how the tribulation is going to unfold. You see what's going to happen at the beginning, the first 3.5 years, what's going to happen in the second 3.5 years. You see what's going to happen in as it pertains to different characters during these time frames in fairly great detail. We're not even done yet. This goes all the way up to what, 23 chapters, 22 chapters? So we still got more to cover, but you're going to see a lot of interesting things jump out at you. Love you guys. Bless you guys in Jesus' name. Keep looking up. Keep watching. And I'll see you in the next video.